Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. For today's topic, we're going to talk about research gaps, where to find them, and how is it useful to your research. Without further ado, let's begin discussing what's a research gap. A research gap is any area of concern that was not covered or explored in particular studies. What is not yet still proven, or what is still unknown in a particular study. These are questions left behind unanswered or issues unresolved, of which will be an area for you to answer or to continue and explore. This will allow you to provide new evidence and insights, which will later become the impetus of your study. It can also be addressed as a gap or gaps when study is lacking or has insufficient information or evidence. In addition, by reading more of related literature and studies, you can easily spot areas of concern that are needed relative to your study. So this will be a viewpoint based on your careful scrutiny from other studies, and thus will make your study unique from others. When we spot a research gap, this will lead the way towards exciting research and will challenge someone's critical thinking skills and creativity, because you might find many questions to address, or yet another question could be revealed after the first one was answered, because one key inquiry could help you amplify more questions subsequently. Now let's identify and categorize the various gaps. Let's start from population gap. This might include the size, types, or groups of respondents such as teenagers, students, LGBTQ, futurists, adults, etc. Does it need to increase the size to validate the results? Does it need to try other groups? Next, literature gap. Literature gap appears when there is a concept or new idea you derive after reviewing related literature, which has not yet been studied. So this will be an opportunity for you to explore this area. It is also a literature gap when information is insufficient, to which you can continue by providing more information. To find them, you can look at articles, citations, and references in the related literature and studies of particular research. Let's continue with conceptual gap. Conceptual gap explains the difference between theory and practice, of which there could be an inconsistency or insufficiency of explanations, or the relevance and applicability between theory and practice. Now, what are conceptual and theoretical framework in research? A theoretical framework in research is used to explain its applicability and relevance based on specific theory, since practices specifically in education and management and even in real life are based on theories, thus called theoretical model or foundation. Then its significance is how will this theory gain you understanding when it is applied to a new research. Hence, relevance, applicability, and justification are often an issue on this part. That means if a research is anchored in a suitable theory, is in a good foundation and better stance that couldn't be shaken. Whereas a conceptual framework is a representation created by researchers as a roadmap of their study. Since it is designed by the researcher, a new researcher could develop another concept based on its perceived gaps. Next, time gap. It is considered a time gap when studies are outdated, of which its applicability is no longer timely. So it needs to update those studies based on the current demands, applications, new criteria, or system. Say for example, there is a new update in the K-12 or Department of Education system, or in the higher education system. Some other examples are the new trends or evolving technology to which changes are to be aligned. Trends that could change the workforce demands may result in the need for curriculum review and adjustments. Consequently, a new researcher should adjust its parameters. Continuing on methodological gap. Several studies use mixed methods in their studies, and some researchers usually utilize one exclusive method, especially those who are conducting basic research like those who are in the secondary and college. However, if you think a particular study will derive a better result by using a mixed method of both qualitative and quantitative, if deemed suitable for a topic of interest, to refine existing method to address specific issues. Also, if you think a certain topic would derive a better outcome and excitement if an experimental method is applied. Subsequently, let's talk about practical gaps. This is an angle to which there might be gaps in the application of research findings to practical situations. So there is a need to conduct additional research to understand more of its implementation and suitability in society, organization, or educational system, etc. Additionally, it is necessary to identify various gaps or barriers to its implementation while at the same time addressing those barriers. Finally, data gaps. These gaps occur when data available on the existing studies of a particular topic are limited. Thus, their validity is uncertain and not enough to obtain valid conclusions. Consequently, there is a need to develop other research to collect more data of the same or different population groups, or to use another instrument to collect data on a particular issue. Because data gathered are related or based on the population, instruments, and parameters being used, of which could be insufficient or there could be a misinterpretation of data. Now let's talk about where can research gaps be found? Primarily, you have to start by reading related literature and studies. You may consider looking directly at the abstract, where it briefly outlines the main parts of the paper. It describes what the researcher studied and has found, emphasizes the research purpose, its significance, major outcomes, including a brief statement of the gaps in the research. Why should I still need to dive in deeply to explore someone's research when what I need is already seen through in the abstract? Then look at the suggestions for future research and conclusion, wherein the researcher identifies the area or areas to which the research gap exists, or what it did not cover, and what studies will be needed in the future. Look for phrases such as has not been clarified, studied, or explored, etc. Moreover, try scanning the synthesis section where authors compare the similarities and differences of combined sources, contradicting views of authors, and the new ideas of the current researcher, and elaborating its stance in the existing views. Finally, after reading sufficient literature and studies, you would have all-encompassing ideas and be able to see gaps based on your own judgment and analysis to which you can take advantage. Let's go over the significance of research gaps. Generally, addressing research gaps is important as they might be a barrier either in the implementation, application, and effectiveness of a course of action on the pieces of evidence presented and or on the part of a justification of conclusions. This could help in the improvement of existing implementations, applications, or of an existing study. For example, a management implementation of new policies or the application of digital marketing, etc., to which may fall in either practical or conceptual gap. Moreover, uniqueness and creativity of a researcher is challenged when research problems are established from a research gap in a subject area of which one could derive a series of questions, one after another. Therefore, nobody could question the researcher's credibility and firm stance. Consequently, new evidence and conclusions obtained, as well as research proposals, are significant contributions in addressing concerns in a particular field of study. What is the importance of knowing the different types of research gaps? In order for you to be able to know which part or section you can find, how to identify them, and how to construct and conceptualize them after being identified. Reading will lead to many different gaps, and as you go through, you'll identify them in their category or type. Then, of course, this will lead you to understand how to fill in the gaps as well as how to address them. I don't think identifying gaps should be ambiguous or comprehensive, while it can be easily done in a matrix format, indicating that title, author, type, identified gaps, and how it is to be resolved ultimately is. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to catch my next video. Paalam!